FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
To our guest, you would enjoy every bit of it. It is Afro Time Out. My name is Jadan. This is Mainland 98.3 FM, and this is the sound of Lagos.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter
I'm
at
on the radio,
Mainland
and
FM.
you're out there
We
in
are
the
the
market,
sound
in
of
your
Lagos.
car, at your various homes, at the office. As long as you're tuned into the radio, then dance with us. It's an amazing Thursday afternoon. It is my birthday also, so I'm excited. So I'm not such a big person when it comes to birthday, but sometimes I say just appreciate it and move on. So thank you for wishing me a happy birthday. Today on the show, so in the 80s, late 80s precisely, a group of young men took center stage. The list is endless. Talk about Majek Vishek, the Maxi and Lizzie. Okay, Felix and Lizzie. Okay. And Moses. Okay, Felix and Moses. I think Felix Duke. Yes, Felix Duke, yeah. What names again? Chris Okochie, like I did mention. There's a man, William Oniabo. The name classic. That's a classic man. So these people took center stage in the 80s. There's no doubt that African music or Nigerian music evolved. In the 60s, it used to be a lot of our life. Back there in the NBC, Fela and the Scholar Lobitos, Sam Akpabot, there's Isi Arinze, and a few other people. 70s, 80s was at that time, it was 80s that we began to see a lot of Fela at that time. Fela took the mainstream, but there was also a change. Nigerian music got a lot of Western feel. With William Oniabo's music, sometimes you listen to, it's what you call garage today. It's beats, few words, but you can dance to the beat. I was watching either one of his foreign shows on TV, David Letterman or something, and I saw the ladies from Fantastic Man. Yeah, I saw the ladies, the twin now, Lady Jadu sisters perform the drummer that stays in the United Kingdom now also. That's the Lagos. Okay, this name skips me at this time, but they did a song from William Oyabo. It's a maverick. People don't really know about him, and it's no doubt that people like that don't get a lot of talk on the radio. Then the late 80s, Magic for Shek came. There was Alex O. There was Mr. Loverman. There's a song I really do like now. Excuse me, young lady. Daniel Wilson, Ragamuffin. Yes, Ragamuffin was there. But a man started what you call the evolution of Nigerian hip-hop today with a bit of African feel. There's no doubt that Mr. Alex Ogugwo Okoroigwe, Alex O, like you call him. So people like me will find it difficult to pronounce the name, so we'll just keep it short. Alex O took center stage in the 80s, signed on to Polygram. And Polygram is still very much premier music. If you go to Ikeja just before the shrine, Mike is running that place very well. It's holding it down. I know a lot of people both took center stage at that time with the man Olaolu Akins, the producer extraordinaire. Yes, Lemmy Jackson, ensuring that Nigerian music took a different turn entirely. But a man knows the story better than I do. I'm basically just less than 35 years old, or not up to 35 years. I was like 30 years old, but I know this. But someone who knows, someone who passed that rank, someone who deserves all of the commendation, because it's back in our faces. There's no doubt there is a legend, an icon who gets all of the commendation and talk that radio has missed, but is on the radio. Good evening. No, we're in the afternoon. Good afternoon, Alex O.
Thank you very much, Jaden. Nice to be here. Feels great to be here. And before I say anything, let me say happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you more.
Thank
Give
you.
more progress, more success, and more achievements in life.
Thank you very much. It's been how many years now? I don't like to use the word disappear, because they say evergreen music don't die. So as long as you have a good song, you are very much available. You can only listen to what suits you. On my phone, I listen to music of Fela and some Kuti in the 60s. I listen to Orlando Julius. I listen to Ofege. Whatever turns me on is what I listen to. So if you know the real deal, music doesn't die. So where have you been? It's a more appropriate word to use than where did you disappear to?
Okay. At a certain point in my career those days, I realized that I needed to do certain things, add to the skill that I had, towards, the music and stuff. The industry was going through a very challenging phase that time, and a lot of things were getting to be more difficult, more so trying to release new songs and all that. And then piracy was so much that the record companies started finding it very difficult to carry on with their activities the way they traditionally did. So I actually finished the whole album and took it to Polygram. A whole lot of things were, not going well that time. So I just said, okay, instead of waiting for the curtains to fall, get to do something, travel, study, whatever you have to do, reinvent yourself, and then come back and continue with what you're doing. And that's exactly what happened. I traveled out, studied, learned how to play more, perform more, sing more, and then and I'm back here again. So I didn't actually disappear. But what happened basically was a lot of people thought that I actually moved away from music. I never did. The only thing that I was not doing was releasing new songs, but I was performing, all over the world, going France, everywhere, Europe, singing, producing, and working with other musicians. And also, I've been able to gather a lot of experience. And here I am again.
Great to know that you're great. So let's take it back. When did it start for you?
Music. I can say from primary school, the primary school band, secondary school, the choirs, and always, I identified the fact that I had the talent, so all I was doing then was looking for the opportunity to start to express myself. And I remember from the secondary school, I used to sneak out from the dormitory and run to Lagos to see if I could get a recording deal, because that was the time Chris Okoti and, you know, Jidobi and all them, you know, they were doing very well. They were popular. And everybody wanted to, you know, also come. So I used to try to do that. It never worked very well until I finally came to Lagos, and I went to meet Uncle Steve Rhodes, the musicologist. You know, he told me that I needed a bit of training, and he took his time and spent about 1 year, 6 months training my voice and how to perform and all that. So after that, I started performing with them, you know, Steve Rhodes' voices, and then as time went on, I wanted more. I wanted to release records, and, you know, so that took me to Lemmy Jackson. So I started working with Lemmy Jackson in the studios. Actually, most of those musicians those days that you've been mentioning that were being produced by Lemmy, I was more or less like the assistant producer, because I was always working with Lemmy in the studios.
Wow.
So, and then in 1985, here in Anthony Village, Japex, that was a recording that was recording me that night. And then he listened, he heard all that I was doing. So by the time he got to the office the next day, he came looking for me and said, the MD of Sony Music, then he was the CBS, was looking for me because of the songs he heard, and that was what unlocked my career. So I went to Sony Music, and they couldn't strike a brilliant deal with Lemmy Jackson. Lemmy Jackson now went to Polygram.
Wow.
Yeah, and the rest, they say.
Is it straight? Let me take
Yes.
you back. So you mentioned a name that I really do appreciate, and I immortalize him or idolize him, if that's the proper word to use. His name is Elder Steve Rhodes.
Yes.
So I think I saw him a few times. I saw him at the Muson, but I usually go back to YouTube to check out videos, and I saw an amazing video of Steve Rhodes on the Balamila show.
Yes, you know,
So-
both of them were friends, close friends.
And he did a few numbers.
Yes.
He did a song from Olaya, did Jeremy. How amazing is it to learn under Steve Rhodes?
Well, he's one of those people that we can call, if I'm allowed to use that word, perfectionists. You know, he'll never agree that you've gotten it right until he sees that you're blowing other people's minds and all that. So he took time, and he didn't just want to put me out there without making sure that I knew what it was all about. And he put me through all the voice lessons, all the training, and it became very popular. After I had released under Polygram then, he called me to come and perform in one of the shows, one weekend that he had about 3 shows, and he was asking me, some of our clients are asking whether you would like to come and take part in the show, and how much will it cost, and will it be possible? And I told him, I said, when I came to your office looking for help from you, you didn't ask me how much I had to give to you. So I offered, and I played all those shows, and I didn't take 1 naira from him, and I was very happy that I did that.
The industry, they say, has changed in terms of financial benefits. How viable was it back in the day?
Yes, it was. It was not as good as it is right now. Well, at least we were making a good living. You know, not much money was in circulation then. If you also remember, during that time, there were only few very rich people, and everybody else was struggling. We don't actually have this middle class that we have now, that when you put up a show, they will be willing to pay 2 million for one table and all that. You know, so not many people had money. And in fact, when you go out to perform, sometimes before people could come into your show and fill up the place, they would have saved up for it. They would have, you know, it was rough then, but we managed to get by, and we thank God for the things we were able to achieve, because it was very rough then.
Yeah, this is Mainland FM. It is Afro Time Out. We have in the studio Alex O. We'll talk about his music. We're still talking about his early days. We'll talk about now. But also, you give us an insight on how big music was there. I know of the Lekki Splash. I know a lot of Lekki Sun Splash and a lot of the big festivals that happened at that time. I would like you to show me or tell me what it was then, and if we have any of such culture at this time. But we have to play music. We'll play a song. I saw the video again yesterday, and I'm wondering, do you still dance that way?
Yes, I do. I do. I mean, if you have it, you have it. You know, it's just a matter of whenever it kicks in, you know, you just let it roll. You understand? You know, I've always been performing.
Okay.
You know, so
Let's do it, isn't it? Yes, do it. It's on the radio. Let's do it with Alex O on Mainland 98.3 FM. It is Afro Time. And when we come back, we'll talk new music. We'll talk everything that is worth listening to this wonderful Thursday afternoon.
For a very long time, I was in a toxic relationship with my partner. I kept making excuses. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe I need to refresh. Maybe I should log out and log in again. Maybe I need to go out and climb that tree, and maybe it's just bad. But not anymore, because I found the perfect partner. MTN Broadband. With its reliable and wide coverage, no more maybes, just goals. So, hashtag MTN Broadband and I for life, hashtag relationship goals.
MTN Broadband. Get yours today and enjoy internet bliss. Visit any MTN store to get yours now or visit www.mtn.ng/broadband. MTN Broadband. Data that's got you covered.
They say water no get enemy. Water is everybody's friend. But for me, my own water is not just my paddy. No. It's my paddy of life. Yes, my water is so cool and it goes through a 7-step filtration process, making sure it's safe to drink. Aquafina Premium Drinking Water. That's my paddy of life.
Your paddy of life.
Stay hydrated always with Aquafina Premium Drinking Water from the makers of Pepsi. Available in over 35 countries. It's water you can always rely on.
Aquafina, your paddy of life.
Aquafina, your paddy of life.
Chinedu! Don't worry, Ma. He'll be home on time, just like his dad. I'm cooking their favorite jollof with Sonia tomato mix. They are here.
Hey, is that jollof ready?
Right on time.
Your loved ones will always rush home for tasty meals prepared with Sonia tomato mix.
It's so good eating together with a family.
Yes, Ma. Sonia tomato mix brings you together. Proudly Nigerian.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to grow old with no money. No, no, no. Make your retirement a smooth journey. So be smart. Save a little step up. Always smile and live.
With your account for that your PFA, no too small. PCPFA.com/account/transfer RSA to fill the form one time or make you call us on 01-448-2780.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos.
Part of this wave.
Follow us Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos.
First prize is 1 million naira.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the Sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Nation and
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. Platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Your contributions, we can help you.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Or connect with us on 01.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
I know this is not what guys usually say to
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of
Just like
Lagos.
Aproko Doctor, everyone needs a Padi.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
It's the drum comedy concert.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Forever Bash, Josh 220, and the
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
For a seat on the VVIP table.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
It's groovy.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Mainland FM.
Follow us on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. On Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at
I love you, right? That's the perfect line to sell any song. You still got it, man. Say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what inspired that song? Shine Like a Star is a new song by Alex O. A song that you can rival any of the songs you listen to now. I'm a big fan of the songs that we listen to now, but no substance. No pun intended, or every pun intended. Music that I can't listen to after 1 month is not good enough for me. But this is a new song and it's a good song. What inspired it, and were you the other one on that song?
Thank you very much. Thank you. In these times of, let me say, problems and challenges all over the world, we try to put across messages that will make people to love and appreciate one another, be there for each other, care for one another, you know. And when you say I will be there for you, if you know, because I know you've been there for me, you know, it can only help to make the world a better place, society a much better place, you know. So it's better than going to wars, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Were you the other one on that song, or did you feature someone?
No, I featured Prince Amaho, actually. Prince Amaho is a Nigerian based in Germany. You know, in fact, he's one of the biggest stars in Europe. You know, he's been out there for a long time, and he wants to start coming home. So we've been talking, you know, in between, and the idea came up. Okay, let's do a song together. You know, so I put a couple of my materials across, you know, for him to listen and see which one fits into his style, and he chose this particular one. I said, okay, why not? You know, so we did some part of the production in Germany, some parts here, you know, the video as well. We shot some here, some in Germany, and, you know, and so far it's doing well, you know.
The reception has been great.
Yes, we thank God.
So how many
at least within less than 2 weeks, he hit 1.3 million views on YouTube.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes,
that's a lot. Because sometimes it's difficult to get a lot of views on YouTube. I know the YouTube fans are very, very stingy with their likes and their comments and
I
their
know.
views, except you have music that is extensively good. But this song, how many albums do you have to date? I know you have 4. But
and a maxi single. So I call it 5.
Okay, 5
basically,
albums.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mention.
Okay, we started with Getting Loose, the first album, 1988. Then after Getting Loose album, we now came up with the maxi single that had 4 songs, Alex O maxi single. Then after that, we now came with the full album, Impressions. You know, no, before Impressions, we came with Say No album. Then after Say No album, then we have the Impressions. Then after the Impressions album, we now have
Promise.
Yes, Promise now came after that. You're keeping touch with
So
everything.
should we expect another album? What is due now? Your maxi single will be called an EP in today's time. That's short music in one body.
Yes,
but
yes.
Should we expect an album soon?
Yes, we're working on that. But you know, these days the singles go out a lot faster, a lot quicker, and a lot easier to promote. But one thing that happens is, if you are being called for concerts, you're not just gonna go and play one or 2 songs.
People do.
Yeah, I would like if I want to do a show. I mean, I would want the people that are coming to my show to be able to have full taste of what I have. You understand? Like perform for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever it is that has to be done. Unlike now, during our days, when you come for a show, you're expected to perform from 8 o'clock till about 4 in the morning. Especially if you went to places like Warri, Port Harcourt. They'll tell you, oh, you know how much I paid at the gate? You guys have to be here till 4 o'clock, So you have to be performing. And I can also tell you that some of those, helped me when I now traveled. Because I now had so much energy. Other musicians would play for
hours.
Yes, and I'm ready to roll. You know what I mean? So some of those had their own advantages as well.
So I was reading comments off YouTube page from one of your old songs.
Okay.
And the comment was, he mentioned his name and said he played in your band in 89 alongside Yinka Davis, Samuel Bozo.
Okay.
What other names played alongside?
Well, we had Ray Jehovah, we had Teddy Fretless, we have a whole lot of them.
You still keep in touch?
Yes, and many of them are doing very well now. Sammy's big out there. Yinka Davis, Teddy, Big Teddy is also doing well as well. The thing was that we were all young then, and we were very passionate about what we were doing. So it was a whole lot easier for my manager to
get the best time.
Yes,
to call him session man.
He was more like our elder brother then, and he was the same man who walked into the JAPEX studio the night I was
performing.
I was recording, yes, and he was the sound engineer for Sony Music, CBS then. So he was the one that went and spoke to them that there's a guy in, and they sent him to come get me. So he later became my manager.
So now that you take us back to working with record labels, at the time you did work alongside Sony to get a record deal that never worked out.
Yes.
Or you were with Polygram and moved on to
Yes,
Premier.
and he worked, yeah.
Now you're working on your own. How difficult is it to get your music out there on your own than having the backing of a record label?
Okay, I can tell you that right now it's a whole lot easier. You understand? It's a whole lot easier right now. Even if you don't have plenty resources to go to the TV stations and radio stations, you can actually explore the advantage of the internet. You understand? And put it in front of everybody else out there. During that time, the records and all that, but whatever it was that they were doing, we're working. And on our own, we were also doing a whole lot of work ourselves. Each city or town that we go to perform a show, we go to the radio stations, we go to the TV stations, we go to the clubs, so it was also helping to promote then. But one major challenge then was, not many people had telephone sets. That time you dress up and hop into your car and drive to Port Harcourt to go and see a promoter there. And then when you get there, they say, "Oh, the guy just left Port Harcourt to Lagos to see you." It was challenging, and I can tell you that if it wasn't for God, some of the things that we achieved, I don't think we would have been able to achieve them.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
So I'll take you back and I'll bring you back now. So let's talk about music, performing. It's easy to go on a stage, perform for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, no drums, no piano, no guitar to back you up, as long as your music is playing in the background. And at that time, it was very important you had at least a knowledge of any music instrument of your choice.
Absolutely.
You had a piano, guitar, and you have to perform live. Do you think nothing has changed really, or maybe the time has just changed?
There are a couple of angles to it right now. You know that some people might want you to come, like these days, people might want you to just come and perform. Now, it now depends on how big the budget they have for the show is. If they don't have the budget for the big band to come, so some of them will say, okay, use your backing track, like instrumental, and then come and sing. We did some of those during those days in the nightclubs, where like the nightclubs that don't want you to come with the whole band and it's too big, it will occupy the whole space. So it depends on who wants the show and how they want it. You understand? We all also knew that during that time, if you are an established artist, you should have your musicians, you should have your instruments, you should have someone they call you come and perform and do, you understand, and make it sound good, make it look good. But these days, if it's a small show, they may not require you to bring your own instruments and everything, so you just go. But some people abuse that. You know, some people just go there, they don't even sing at all. They just keep humming and keep dancing, and you understand.
And jumping.
Yes.
And
yes.
your mic is off your mouth for after the performance.
So what is it? What it mapped out their time to sit down there and watch you, give them something to take home. At least you should be able to sing. And that's why I advise most of the younger musicians these days, it's not about blowing. You have to try and prepare yourself, learn one instrument or the other, be able to put your music together, you understand, and then call a sound engineer or somebody to come and help you. Because if you don't have any experience, all you do is, okay, you try one, they put some beats together for you, and then you hum something on top of it and people like it. Okay, then what happens next? You become a one-hit wonder.
And you disappear.
Yes, nobody gets to hear about you, anymore. So it's good to acquire some good level of experience before you put yourself out there.
Time has caught up with us, but I'll do something. I'll play like a star again,
okay,
and we'll sign out of the show. It is Afro Time Out on Mainland 98.3 FM. There's Alex O. My name is Jaydan, and it's Mainland, the sound of Lagos.
Lifetime, 365 days that we will shine. On them in the hate that we design. We can push forward or stay in rewind. Loving make me shining, no denying. Hold you down forever, together we flying. Don't let nobody kill your dream. I said journey can be tough going upstream. Someday you're gonna break through. Doesn't matter what they say or do. Whatever it is you're going through.
So no matter what it is that you're going through, you would always come through. That's the word that Alex always saying to everyone tuning into the frequency at this time. We have to let you go because I have to go too. But it's been fun talking to you.
Same here.
How does it feel being back in a radio studio, pushing a new song? It's almost forever, but you're back doing it again.
Yes, it's good. I mean, once one is passionate about what he does, what he loves, there's actually no age limit to. I mean, I can be singing, dancing, performing for the next 100 years, as long as I enjoy it and I do the best I can to make sure that the people also enjoy it. You know, so the song has to be good. You have to try and put in effort. So, and I'm telling everybody, my fans and everybody out there, thanks for all the support and everything you've put across towards helping me to get to where I am today. Please go to YouTube, and
search Like a Star.
Yes.
By Alex. Shine like a star.
Yes.
By Alex.
Watch it.
Comment.
Yes. Comment, share, spread. And God will continue to bless you more for it.
Do you have videos on the TV to check out for? Does the song is there a video for the song yet?
Yes, this particular one. It's on YouTube.
Okay,
it's on the stations as well.
Great. Yeah, it's the audio. Okay, I checked the video out also. Like, subscribe, and share.
Yes.
It is Alexo. It is Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Jaydan. It's been fun. Can you sing for us?
Okay, what do I sing? Life is not always sugar and cream. You'll never know what's coming your way. Just when you think it's settling, there's always something that would be choking your day. Doesn't matter what we've been through, I will always be there for you. Every day, every night. You distracted me. 365 days, I will always be there, just like you'll be there for me. Shining in the middle of the night, shining, so keep me shining every time I hear you say I love you.
I love you, everyone. So check out on YouTube, subscribe to the page Sonic Music.
Yes,
and you can get everything by Alexo on that platform, Sonic Music.
Yes.
And Shine Like a Star videos on there, so check it out and subscribe, like, and comment. It's been fun. We have to run. My name is Jaydan. We'll make a glorious return on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. But on the other side of the hour is Situation Room with Okwemi Akiyode. There's also Peter Okodwa in the studio. The program will continue on the radio station of First Choice. Have a fantastic rest of the day.
To shine, get this love and hope divine. We keeping it open, connect and come together and feel this love.
Life is not always sugar and cream. You'll never know what's coming your way. Just when you think it's settling, there's always something that will be choking your day. Doesn't matter what we go through, I will always be there for you. Every day, every night, the 365 days.
Yeah, I know what this is.
98.3 Mainland FM.
Politics often determine how much of our desired society we experience. Identifying the challenges and providing applicable solutions to those challenges is what we do when we converge in the Situation Room. From every corner of the world, we analyze politics, policies, and operations. Right your comfort zone.
New twists, new hands and legs coming into this. And talk to us about how failure of intelligence had brought us to where we are right now. This whole agitation.
You cannot successfully defend a nation without relevant or appropriate intelligence. 2015, unemployment and underemployment was 24%. There is four major cause of our poverty is corruption.
The existence of evil is one of the very best reasons to arm law-abiding citizens.
Who are these insecurities? The use of area boys, the use of thuggery, the use of unknown assassins and gunmen, politics, politicians, and elections are familiar with all these strange happenings.
Shouldn't have to choose between one candidate who wants to burn this party down and another candidate who wants to buy this party out.
Keeping you informed about decisions made and many more. Join Opayemi Akion and other seasoned analysts in the Situation Room every Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Let's identify, analyze, and bring solutions to our situation.
Mainland 98.3 FM, your number one radio, reaching stars, the sound of Lagos.
I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government.
A very good evening to you out there, my wonderful listeners. I must say, I appreciate your continued patronage of this station all this while, and the interest you have developed in our program lineup, especially on this Situation Room every day by 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. and on Thursdays like this, the program ends up at 5:30. My name remains Matthew Okudua, and in the studio with me I have Muyiwa. Muyiwa, you are welcome.
Good evening, boss.
Okwe, you are welcome.
Good evening, Lagos.
These are my roommates. And today, as always, on the Situation Room, we always look at issues. Yes, it borders on governance, not strictly politics on governance. Issues that affect the voter more than the politicians. At the end of the day, the two sides will always meet at a point when we're discussing issues. Today, we are looking at violence and credible elections. How do violence or how does violence affect credible elections? If you go back to the history of Nigeria from independence, we had election, the first election 1964-65, and we were told that 200 people died officially. But when there was problem in the southwest, what is generally known as wet year, up to 2,000 people were recorded to have died at that time. And this was for what? Because somebody or some people want to rule over others. And we're going to look at the role of the youths in violence, in electoral violence. Then we move to, in 1983, Omobori versus Ajasin, in the same southwest. It was a junior version of wet year, and for those who were not born then, it was another blood spilling on the streets. because somebody somewhere want to become a ruler over others. In 1993, we were told 100 people were killed in violence that trade the elections. In 1999, we have 80. In 2003, we have hundreds, and in 2007, we have 300. The highest in recent times was in 2011, when 800 people were killed. 2015, we have 100 dead. 2019, we have 150 killed. At least this source is from the Human Rights Watch. And at the end of the day, you now ask yourself, must we violent stamp our elections every year, every election year? And why? Why should the election be a do or die affair? And that is not all. These numbers are those that have actually died, not those that were injured and maimed, not properties that were burned. We have INEC officials that were killed in the process. Policemen were attacked. Passerby were also attacked all over the place. Just in 2019 election, just at Palace Way here in Lagos, people burned ballot box, and some people were also, I think, killed or almost died for that process. So, Malgamuiwa, here we are. We are on the march again. Can we avoid this time around? Violence.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's quite unfortunate, I think, that when you are reading out the figures, to know many lives that were lost. And unfortunately, if you see the statistics and the figures read out, even in 2019, when we thought the figure should come down from that of 2015 of about 100, 2019 was talking about 150. Yeah. So meaning that I think it's difficult for us to say now with that figure that maybe we've learned any lesson, I think, from this process. We're behaving like political talks. Because if we are not violent, there's no way you will invite people to come and kill, maim, or destroy other properties simply because you are violent. And it's quite also unfortunate that when we are talking of this violence in Nigeria, the first thing we should understand is that democracy is supposed to be a contestation of ideas, where you look at the manifesto vis-a-vis the competence, character, and capability of the candidates. But because our campaigns have not been issue-based, we attack emotions, we introduce sentiments, we attack personalities. And once we do that, hatred sets in. Because hatred sets in, I don't want to see anybody belonging to this party. This is my brother. Once they belong to this party, no, it's my enemy. And then if he died in the process, yes, it's good for him. So because of that kind of hatred, we have not seen the beauty of democracy. So we begin to play it in a barbaric manner that many people, many countries have passed in the 18th centuries. But be as it may, we are on the march again. The feelers now have not suggested, there's always a build-up to it. And then when you see the kind of what people are posting on the social media, if you see the kind of narrative coming out, because immediately you begin to attack personalities, immediately you begin to attack ethnic groups, or you are bringing religious sentiments into this matter, you are driving emotion. And when people becomes emotional, at least they can do anything before their eyes opened. So if you see what is going on in the country today, the campaign will begin. Very good that they're bringing this topic as this will be off for people to go on the streets. So if the build up to it, people have been hating themselves. People have been already been seeing themselves as enemies. Even that no matter what is coming out from this party, even I've profiled them, I've tagged them. Do you understand? And so the way that hatred will begin, I think I'm afraid that if care,
there might still be violence.
Yes, if care is not taken, especially by the candidates, to regulate the activities of their supporters. So we're having a template for it now. We are having all the rudiments, all the fundamentals, all the factors that leads to violence. Because if you look at all the words here you're talking about, it's more or less a personality clash between Awolowo and Akintola. So it's not a serious fundamental issue. So there was this clash between two of them, and they took it to the election, and their supporters divided, and the whole Southwest at least almost got burnt. If not only got burnt, it was a crisis that led to the invitation
of the army
in January 15, 1966, and we are seeing that problem now. So what the point I'm trying to make is that unless the political actors, the political elites, understand that their campaigns must be issue based, let's do less of attacking of individuals. Let's play less on religious sentiments. Let's play less on ethnic sentiments. I'm telling you, somebody was reporting to us last week that one particular ethnic group, a lady, was somewhere in this part of Lagos, and the majority of people in that market, at least, were supporting a particular candidate, and immediately the girl, at least I think, voiced out a contrary opinion to them. Somebody just slapped her from behind, right? And as she was saying, somebody wanted to strip her naked in the market. So, and had they been other ethnic groups
were there,
just of equal number, or people that belong to another absent from that political party were there, what would have happened? So that's the point we are making, that it gets to some places now, especially in Lagos. Before you talk of any political party, you have to look at
watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth. Watch your environment. Unless because the way they will not only insult you, you will be assaulted. And if I'm assaulted now, or my wife is assaulted, and I have the indices are there, but Nigerians must be careful.
Okay, you are eager to say something. Can you situate electoral violence in Nigeria with political objectives?
Okay. I just like Mr. Miwa said, I think the timing of this topic is really very important. And then when the topic came up, one of the things that just came to my mind is that beyond we campaigning for people to get their PVCs, we also need to send out the message of people need to realize that either political violence or electoral violence, neither of them have a place in our democracy. And we need to look into it. I mean, we've had lots of elections, about 9 democratic electoral process between when we got independent in 1960 and now. The 1963, 1964, we've had one in 1983, 1979, 92, 2003, 7, 11, 15. This is the longest stretch that we've had. And then if you also look at the role that the military had played in all of this, the military had occupied over 30 years of our independence in terms of coming into it. I think the longest they had in between was the 1965 to 1979. Another government came into power, it was truncated again by the military before we had this one that we're having. I think this is just a chip in for a lot of people that don't understand what military does in a system where we've enjoyed some form of independence in the name of democracy. In the people that don't understand how much the country feel caged when the khaki boys are out on the streets, then you don't want to experience it. I just had to quickly chip that in before the conversation gets deeper. Now, you talk about indices. One of the things that helps our democracy is elections. It helps us to fix our mistakes. It helps us to consolidate on whatever little gains that we think we've had. It helps us to also, if you think this individual is not doing enough, or you feel this political party is not living up to their political promises, you change them. It's very simple. Election is the bedrock of any democracy anywhere in the world. And we also need to establish the fact that Electoral violence is not unique to Nigeria. It's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. It's not even peculiar to Africa alone. We've seen countries in the world where an electoral result or a decision vis-a-vis that the people feel, oh, this person is not the most popular. This is not the choice of the people, and led to chaos. We've seen that over and over again. So if at this point, with the challenges that we think our democracy is facing, it is still the best thing that we can hope for. I'm not saying this is the best we can get in terms of efficiency or leadership or service delivery, but I'm talking about the best system of government that we can embrace. A lot of people have interpreted this as democracy as, oh, it's a kakitocracy, it is a oligarchocracy, whatever inspiration, whatever definition you want to give to it. The most important thing is that after every calendar season, after every election period, whether midterm elections like we had in several states this year, Anambra, Ekiti, Osun, or we have the general election itself, it is an opportunity that we can choose who governs us.
No, this is where I want to look at it seriously. Why will it be that violence will always be our response to defeat?
Well, I think I was reading a book a couple of years back, and one of the things that was said was one of the genesis of electoral violence in this country is the idea of do me, I do you. Oh, I didn't start it. They attacked my political party campaign boss. Oh, they burnt my political party office from in another state, and I'm going to want to retaliate as well. It starts from there. See, there are a lot of factors that goes into electoral process. Many people don't even know that election is the main issue is what happened on the election day itself. There are a lot of issues that comes off pre-election, during election, and post-election. That is why people will tell you that there's pre-electoral violence, there's during the electoral, and there's post-electoral violence, which often come when the result probably does not go the way of what you want. Now, the mindset that we go into election with is a big factor. And when I say we, I'm talking about everybody involved. The state actors, the non-state actors. Now, let me stream it down to the election that we are likely going to have next year. A lot of people are already talking. Some interest groups are already coming out to say there won't be an election in one part of the country or the other. Some countries determines how we accept the result of those elections. And this plays specifically about the ideology of our political leaders. We've had leaders in this country coming out to say that this is a do or die affair. And the moment you as a political figure, as a leader or as a candidate, send that kind of message out to your followers, you've given them the go-ahead, you've given them the audacity to accept the electoral result in any way they want to accept it. So the state actors are very important. The body, I mean, I may be young, but I understood the role that Nadeko played in one of the electoral systems that we have in this country. How there were allegations of fraud perpetrated by the body that was supposed to organize a free and fair election. So the state actors need to be deliberate in the kind of messages they send out. Your body language must show that you know you have nothing else but peace.
Okay, do you want to agree or disagree with him?
Yeah, I want to add one or 2 points to it. You know, we were talking that why violence followed this election.
Yes,
that question
always.
Okay, now let me give you about 3 or 4 reasons. The first one is political maturity. Some of the candidates or political parties are not politically matured. 1. 2 is the so much money spent on election and the process. If you see a candidate that's already in debt to the tune of billions of naira, right? And will you just watch? I think the result just will be announced like that, and the billions of naira just disappeared
Down the drain.
Down the drain.
And we've seen a candidate that fainted after the result of primaries. Fainted.
I'm coming. It's a very serious matter. Do you understand? Some people sold their family property. Some after selling everything,
they
went to bank to pick loan. And you expect the man that has spent billions of naira with high expectations, right? Even at least just to one announcement, dashed the hope and the billions just wasted like that, it becomes emotional. Thirdly, is winners take all. Winners take all. And in Nigeria, once you have lost election, everybody that, and for this, some of these reasons, some people find it difficult to accept results, even if they have to go and borrow more money to go to Supreme Court to challenge the result. No, because the man, and again, we are talking of this violence. You have seen situations in Nigeria that immediately after election, people will go to prominent political elites that have collected vehicles money from them, and if they did otherwise on the day of election, that please return my money, quick, return my car. This, let me give you an instance. MKO Abiola did it in 1983 when he contested. In 1979, right, when he contested in Abeokuta for the Senate, and he lost. And some of the traditional rulers and chiefs that he gave Mercedes-Benz, he collected them from them. I know one of them. You understand what I'm saying? He collected, even on the street, they will just stop. They collected money from you. They've collected vehicle from you. And the problem is that no, we own this community.
They've anointed you.
They've
anointed you.
Yes, but the cocoa here. So the man has spent all his savings, everything he had, and so that's the problem. The more we still monetize our election, there will be president lost the election. We know what he said, and we know what that triggered. In Kano, in Kaduna, in some
Katsina, in that axis.
We know what axis. So I think those points. I think.
Now the question there, Muiwa, yes. Just hold on there. The question is, if people are afraid of losing election, like any competition, what would be the approach? One would suppose that the one would say, okay, election is a competition, kind of. There must be a winner, there must be a loser. If I'm afraid to lose, or if I'm afraid I might lose, what do I do? Will I just wait for violence, or I should work hard at it? Because that's what I think it is. Because what I was talking about, people get afraid of losing, the fear of losing elections could go in. They have what you want. No, he described it as what do you call it earlier? Electoral violence, or political violence. Which includes assassinations.
Yes.
You have not even got to the election position.
But you have a target of someone that can give you problem.
This man will give me problem. Eliminate him. That's the fear of elections. Rather than seeing, okay, what do people need? The people I want to serve, what do they need?
Why do they like him and they don't like me?
Why is he making more waves than me? I think that would have been it. But right now, instead of us resorting to doing better research, doing better audience analysis, doing better problem analysis of the society, we don't do that. We go into planning how to eliminate people. So, in ideally, your fear of losing election, what would it engender in you as a politician if you were one?
I think, you know what, as we said, the political environment we have here, it's not the idea. Do you understand? Because of those issues we have highlighted earlier. And a politician who knows his onion before he set out to contest must have done enough research. Just not within your environment, right? Because unfortunately, you know what, I think when you see results coming out, your polling unit, your immediate constituency, you'll be winning. But without minding what's happening in other constituencies. But if they've done enough research, opinion polls, they're supposed to have a fair idea of how the voting pattern will be. But how many of them are conducting the serious research? How many of them are engaging serious opinion poll, whatever, in the analysis? Even how many opinion poll consultancy firm, right?
In Nigeria. And
that
are not influenced.
Credible, I'm talking about credible.
Yes, credible.
That will tell you as it is. most of the time they tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly. Then you pay more money.
To pay more money, right? Fail to tell you with our analysis, sir, in this local government,
you can't win. No?
You cannot win because of so, and so, right? But they will never tell you that one. For instance, during the Osun election we had last, all the 3 opinion polls that came out clearly said, what call it, Oyetola will win the election. But when some of us got to Osogbo about 3 days to election,
you saw what was on ground.
With what we were hearing, even from those supposed to vote for him, those supposed to canvass for him, that's how we begin to tell those guys about what we are hearing. It's quite different from what we are
hearing. What you gave me?
No, gave me. So all these opinion polls they gave, that we see that they were doctored. At least so suit.
What you want to hear?
What you want to hear, they're not reflecting the reality on the ground. But let me quickly add something. You know, there has been a lot of study and analysis on this matter that it's supposed to be a game.
Yes, yeah.
But you can is that gold or nothing?
Gold or nothing?
No, but I'm coming. If an election is conducted, right, I have 48%. So because it's not important. Okay. People are developing a kind of a system that we're going to have 50. You understand? So even if you have 60%,
and I have 49, and your 51 takes.
Get some opposition members of the
like
party,
unity government,
ministers, ministerial positions
in the board. In this, you understand?
Yes.
You understand? So
I was going to say.
We are still going to have some little crisis.
Okay,
but with political maturity, whoever wants to go to this election,
politician have option A to Z. They have option A, option B, option C, option D. They have option A to Z. So we talked about pre-electoral violence. Typically, a politician will look at the fact that, okay, let me intimidate this person. let me do show of force, let me do political campaign, let me do political rally, let me buy audience, let me buy crowd. We've seen reports where people come out to say that the same set of people that wore clothes for party A are the same set of people that are wearing clothes for party B.
I should tell you that myself.
Exactly. So all of those things, that there are things that politicians use pre-election. So they do intimidation, they do, all of those bullying, they send fear into the mind of the people to either look at the fact that, okay, this person is popular in local government A and popular in local government B. If we do violence 2 days to election in local government A, his people will not come out. So he will not get 100% vote in his local government, but I will get the same in mind. So those are the things that these politicians put on the table when they are going into election. And then even during the election, that's why they will tell you that, on election day, 200 million was moved to local government A to give to the polling this one, to give to this, to give to this, and to give to that. That was during election. And after election, they will tell you that, we have some boys on standby. In the bus, they're in one bush, ready to set up issue, ready to hijack when the result is being taken from one local government A to the state capital. So the beauty of our electoral laws being reviewed every day is what would sustain our democracy. I was at an INEC event yesterday, and Professor Yakumud Mohammed came out to say that this time around, it is impossible for you to snatch ballot boxes and think the vote in those ballot boxes will count. Gone are those days where you snatch ballot box and they will go into one room and count it and present the result. Now it's different because our electoral laws continue to evolve. Now let me come to your question. I was saying the other time that election is not only what happens on that particular day of election. It's a process, mobilization, citizen awareness, educating the people, which is exactly what we're doing on this platform.
No, what I'm saying, sorry, hold on. What I'm saying is there are some sentiments that shouldn't be mentioned in politics, and these are the sentiments that politicians appeal to and cause violence. Religion, tribe, those are the things I'm looking at. So at what point, or are we not at that point when all these sentiments no longer matter?
I know I would say what you don't like to hear. I know you don't like to admit to the fact that our democracy is evolving. You've always asked the question of when are we going to get to that point?
Exactly.
Now, the answer I'm going to give you is that all of these sentiments are part of the building process we have in democracy. I mean, it's difficult for us to think we'll wake up one day and people will not vote because of religious bias. Not today. It is almost impossible for you to think I'll wake up and say, because this is the candidate of my political party and I think he cannot deliver, I'll go and vote for the candidate of party B. Not yet. That's what I said. I'm going to say what will break your heart. Now, the Nigerian political elite, as little as they are in their numbers, they've mastered the act of maneuvering the mindset of the people. One, they impoverish the people, make sure that every little carrot you dangle in front of them on election day matters to them. I'm going to be very sincere with you at this point. It is who is alive that want to see the development of Nigeria in the next 4 years. I've not eaten, and then somebody brings 10,000 naira to me. I know that 10,000 naira would at least buy me 1 or 2 cups of rice, maybe 1 or 2 tubers, and some bunch of maybe garden egg elsewhere. I will feed my family for 2 days. It is very difficult. See, we often try to put our elite tendencies into how we think the people at the grassroots, think. Or we feel like we want to get into issue-based campaign, which is what we've always, advocated for. But there are some people at the grassroots that they don't care about your English. They don't care about your grammar. They want to collect that bag of salt. They want to collect that cup of rice. They want to collect that Ankara wrapper.
When they are not coming, the result of violence.
When they are not coming, they look for the alternative. So now let me quickly wrap up the question you asked me. Now, these politicians have seen this weakness. They've seen this sentiment, and they will continue to prey on it. Don't we have religious leaders in this country that will stand on their, on their exalted position and say that vote for this person? Don't we have religious leaders in this country to say this is who we want? Don't we have traditional rulers in this country that will put a candidate at the center and put their hand on him and pray for him? At the end of the day, the candidate will still lose in some cases. So these politicians, they know these institutions that you are talking about, and they know that these are the things they can use to get into the minds of the people. Why would you vote for candidate A? Because he is not from your religion. He doesn't pray in the same mosque you pray. He doesn't attend the same church you attend. This person is coming to Christianize the country. this person is coming to traditionalize the country, if there's any word like that. So the politicians know all like this. When people like INEC continue to come out and try to change the mindset of the people, when National Orientation Agency continues to come out and send messages to the people in languages that people can understand.
Okay, thank you very much. Muyiwa, let's look at it this way. We're looking at, I want to ask you the question, from what two media representatives of the parties now, they are campaign media managers.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll be definite. Dino and Festus Keyamo. If you look at the look at what they are saying already, is the stage not set for violence?
I think two of them cannot be used as an idea, because I know those two parties still have more eminent people.
Yes.
You understand? Because I think in the APC, you still have Dele Alake, you still have Bayo Nanuga, right?
Yes.
So these are seasoned journalists, and also in PDP, we have also very credible people that know what to say in the public. Because though Dino and unfortunately Kremo is a lawyer, but I think when it comes to the issue of PR, I don't know how.
Discourse zero.
I know. I don't know why they had to ask him to come and talk to the public on the matter. Because I think as a lawyer himself, I think he should know what to say and what not to say. Where Dino has been, that's why people call them Aki and Popo, right? And I think yes, that's the truth.
Yes.
That's the truth.
Yes.
In politics, you need rabid dogs,
Okay.
right? There was a time, I think Obasanjo brought in Fanekayode to do that work for him.
FFK.
Later, I think when he disagreed with Obasanjo, later
he stepped out.
When the center could not hold.
I think when Jonathan also needed him,
they brought him in.
Jonathan in, and then now
I think
they are bringing him in.
He's already in the APC.
You don't understand, but we need rabid dogs to provoke, I think, your opposition. So by provoking them, perhaps they will say something
what they are not supposed to
say, and okay. Hold them to that.
Yes.
But narrative from them, two of them, I think the narrative from them have not been the best for the country.
Not the best for us. Yes, they portend something that is not very good. When Okwe was saying something earlier about politicians, the system of government, and the rest of them, I want to say. He said, I will not agree with what he was saying, that we are still evolving.
Yeah.
Now, yes, as always, I want to know, the politicians that we have, they are aware of the presidential system of government, that anywhere in the world, it is by the generosity of the winner, just as we mentioned earlier, that he says, oh, I will form a unity government. Just giving you one ambassador, one this to this political party and the rest of them, a semblance of being a unity party. Unity government. Yes, sorry, unity government. All these people, they're already aware of the system, that this is not parliamentary system.
Yes.
That this is purely presidential system.
Yes.
And they are coming into it.
Yes.
Why would they still resort into violence when they know that in this one, according to you, there's only one gold medal?
Yes.
No silver, no bronze. No second place, no third place. And they still resort to violence. Is that not a deliberate effort at setting the country on fire?
No, you know what? I think yes, we can say if I can't have it, we lose everything. Some of them have that mentality, majority of them, and due to what we have highlighted earlier. Because I think you know what? I think when ego is also involved, right? I think I've seen myself. On a lighter mode. Do you know immediately you signify to contest for House of Assembly in your area? The day even when you have not picked the form, people in your area have started calling you honorable. You understand? I'm talking about the day. I'm telling you the truth.
No, it's the truth.
You're right.
The day you say, okay, now I'm going to give governorship a shot. We are still looking.
You become His Excellency.
They be calling you
or incoming.
So they be calling you Excellency. You understand? You know, and the thing was, some of them is already getting to their heads. You understand?
You start getting some little unsolicited favors.
Favors here and there, apart from favors, but anywhere you go to, they stand up for you. You understand? That's excellency.
You get invite for events.
And it's around. You know what I'm saying? So before you know it, you begin to see yourself as the next person that will enter that Aso Rock government house. So and then immediately the result just came and everything fell like a card. So some people who are not emotionally prepared, and some of them also surrounded by bad advisors, because instead of telling yourself the truth, you begin to impugn unnecessary
sentiments and emotions.
That is also the rig that election. It's also the rig that election. It's also the rig that election, and there's no way some a candidate that has lost billions of naira who also want to sit down, and people are telling him that it was so that rigged the election this polling unit, or we had confirmed information that police helped them to rig it. He also, you want to put that as a man. Let me tell you something. I happen to have done, I think, to be a media consultant to a candidate, and he was a candidate of a political party 3 times, not aspirant, candidate of a political party 3 times, twice PDP and once ADC. I did not win the election. So we were in one of our meetings thereafter. Somebody said, you guys, for you to win this election and you want to be governor, it will be difficult. He said it's like we are playing politics of a gentleman, politics of idea, politics of in Nigeria. It's like a woman. I'm quoting a very experienced politician. It's like a woman wants to give birth without, and they want to see blood. You understand that unless you become violent, unless you take it by force, there's no way your gentleman approach to politics will give you what you want. And that's what many people believe. You have to do a lot of things against your position. Character assassination, blackmailing. Do you understand? We have to do all those things to get election. So with all these things we have been used to, because and again, whether we like it or not, some people have been using it and it's working for them. You just see an aspirant just disappear suddenly. You see a candidate just disappear suddenly. And unfortunate for our system, all the politically motivated killings had never been resolved.
That's the point I was coming to.
Sean Williams dies in this Lagos state.
Yes, I'm coming. Muiwa.
What happened?
That's the point I was coming to.
Suleiman
now, sorry, the continuation of violence. You know, earlier we said whether we are at it again. When I look at the history of sanctions, we may talk about the electoral act providing for sanctions against violence. Yes. We talk of the election, what we call it, the constitution, having provisions for violence of any kind and the rest of them. But how many of the violators of these rules and regulations
are prosecuted
have been sanctioned and jailed? In other words, the attraction to commit electoral violence
continues.
What I mean by attraction, oh boy, take this 2 million, go and kill. Take this. It's still there more than the sanctions.
Yes.
You know, my people say you should look at these 5 fingers. Their sizes determine what they are. The small one said, we are hungry. The second one said, what do we do? The other one said, let's go and steal. The other one said, what if they catch us? So these 3 people have not said no. They're only giving you how we can walk around. But this one that stays aloof said, I don't have hand in stealing. Do you understand it now? In other words, people have still not said we don't have hand in violence. Why? Because those who have hand in violence still have more to gain than those who say no. Because nobody will say that man is in jail today because of participating in electoral violence. That man has just come back from prison because 10 years ago he was jailed for electoral violence.
Even when they are arrested, they will make sure the case does not get to court.
That's what I'm saying. So there are no sanctions. The
godfathers will come and get them out of the detention and disappeared.
So are we at a point now when INEC can stand up and say, I prosecute you for violence?
I think we need to also understand that what we just said is not does not relate to election alone. We have cases in this country where people come for plea bargains. People that have broken public trust would come out and say, "Oh, I was alleged to have stolen 6 billion. I'll return 4 billion. Let the case die."
1 billion.
And then people would get sentenced to jail for maybe 14 years, and after 3 years they will get presidential pardon, and they will be received at the stadium with hundreds and thousands of people whose money he stole. So that is one. Now, when it comes to election, I think all of us need to admit at this point that election is one of the things that unifies us in this country. Now, the division could be undertone, but everybody at the moment election is coming, you would know. Whether you're speaking Hausa, you're in the north, or you know that we are preparing for an election. So everybody's attention is on one spot. In short, I can tell you emphatically that at this point, governance has stopped in almost every state in this country.
For those that
want to get into,
yes.
Even the ones that are not recontesting, the ones that want to fix their stooges in office to cover up for their bad tracks, they're interested. Even the ones that are not contesting at the state level, they have interest at the national level. We're seeing what is playing out in River State. Wike is not going for any political office. He's not recontesting. He's not going to the Senate, but he's literally giving the PDP sleepless nights. Now, if we say at this point, I think we cannot rule out the place of the Electoral Violence Acts. We need at this point to appeal to the presidency to sign it. If it gets signed, it would set the precedence for people to know that if you commit crime, I mean, it is not just politicians alone that commit electoral
malpractices act.
Yes,
violent act.
Yes. Electoral malpractices acts. Yes, it is not only
malpractices is different from violence.
No, I mean, sometimes a lot of people, just like Mr. DME said, that you will tell you that police aided rigging of election in one local government. You feel that you lost because there was malpractices, and then you want to scatter everything. It happens. It is not only politicians that cause issues during election. So when we agree to the fact that everybody involved in election need to have a single idea, which is this: election is not necessarily a venue for you to collect a signed how do I put in a social contract. If you give me this, I will give you this in return. Vote for me, I would represent your voice. Vote for me, I will build this.
I will serve
Vote
you
for
better.
me, I will serve you better. That is one. Then secondly, now when we say that individuals they don't determine who gets what, it's a lie. Because we started off with this program saying that it is almost impossible now to have the votes that you snatch for you to count when the election. But then recall about a month ago, there was a circular that was posted, and people were saying, because of the altercation at this point now, or the confusion in the mode of transmitting results, people are already agreeing that election has been rigged, even while we've not even fixed the date for the election.
When people were still registering.
People are already registering for their PVCs. We already started throwing words that the election is going to be rigged because people feel like there might be a change to how the result will be transmitted. I think when we begin to have that mindset, when we begin to have that idea, then we can also come to the fact that, what if I don't win an election? Is it because I'm the worst of candidate? No. Is it because I don't have we've seen situations in this country where the best of hands don't win election. We've seen situations in this country where people come to campaigns, people come to debates, and they bring the most brilliant ideas, but they don't win the election. You must have maybe 1 trillion. How monetized is election in this country? Do you know what it means to cover over 700 local governments in this country?
774.
Do you know what it means to every single place you visit, every consultation you do? You must have campaign offices. You must mobilize everyone. Do you even know what it means to have agents? Do you know how many polling units we have in this country? And it is expected for you to have agents in every single polling unit. Let's even start from how much you even used to purchase interest of nomination form in the first place.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, my dear listeners. Thank you. You are still there for us. You are there. That is why we are here, to let you know. In the next 10 minutes, after the news beats, which is just about 2 minutes, the phones will be opened for your own contribution to this discussion. And the line you will call is 0913 6410. 0913 6000410. I repeat that one more time. 0913-60000410. Okay. Ogamuyiwa.
Yeah.
Let's look at language.
Okay.
The language of the politicians. Just briefly, as an aside, mentioned about Dino and Festus Keyamo. Now, let's look at the language of the politicians. Having listened or read about whatever they have said so far, do you have reason to be comfortable?
There's no way you can be comfortable, because I think whether we like it or not is the language, even the expression of whatever you want to put across to the people matters a lot. The diction, the register, all those things you use. And when we begin, when the soundbite we are getting, it's getting violent. I think threats, and the human beings hate to be threatened. Just want to dare. You understand? When you are daring people, when you are threatening people, and because I think most of the language we are getting are not civil enough. A political party certainly should, I think, adopt a finesse language, diplomatic language, to persuade people to buy into your agenda.
Yeah.
Because it's like you are selling, you want to sell your agenda to us. You want to sell a candidate to us.
But appeal to us.
So, marketers, there's no way you see a marketer, do you understand, getting to the field and say, if you didn't buy our product,
they will burn this one down. On top of my money.
I own my PVC.
And you want to serve me? How can
I have my voter's card.
Why are you threatening me like this?
Imagine.
Yes.
I want to send you a message. You are still threatening me.
No way.
So I own my PVC. So you want me to use my PVC to your advantage, right? Your language must be persuasive. Your language, I think it must be convincing. Do you understand? You must romance me. You must tell me sweet words. You must brand and market your policy, your agenda, your manifesto, your candidate in an acceptable manner. But unfortunately, the handlers of these candidates, reason they've not seen the reason why they have to change their language from the primitive method, the old ways. You understand? As if you see some people talking, once my people we talking as if we were in classroom, as if you are a master. You understand? Whoever you are, to hell with you, because I think I want to vote.
You need my PVC.
Sorry to say that. You understand? Yeah, I may choose to vote for the wrong candidate if I think the way the way he conducts himself at least suits my orientation.
Let me waste it. It's none of your business.
It's not my business. If I can sit down at home, not voting, you understand? But you want to get something from me. No, they have to do better. The language we are getting now, the sound bite,
it's frightening.
It's frightening. That's language. It's frightening. And these are the narratives that will lead people to do what they wouldn't want to do under normal circumstances.
Okay. Quickly, before we go for the news break, what do you think makes violence so easy? Is it because guns are available? Because people are hungry? Is it because in your own mind, why do you think it's very easy to resort to violence?
Well, I think the nature of man regularly feels bad when their ego is bruised. So now you did all the work, you did all the investments, and one of the things that beats my imagination is how we see election in this country as an investment. You go to collect loan in bank. If I want you to serve me, I don't need to make you pay to render services. It's a social contract. I'll give you my PVC, you give me in return for a place to go up there.
I don't give you PVC, I vote for you.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you do that, you do the voting with the PVC. No, so people have that mindset like, I must win. This person that won me is not better than me. Yes. So the moment people go into election with that, you already create option B for yourself. I mean, this may not be, how do I put it now, a fact you can check, but the truth is this: every typical Nigerian, they have the mentality of violence. They may not even be the one putting it on the table, but they're handlers. They have boys. They will tell you, this boss is reserved for the political thugs. Our boys must follow us to campaign ground. Our boys, we've seen reports where they said thugs were apprehended days before an election, and they saw so and so material that is associating them with a particular political party. So a typical Nigerian politician already have that mindset like, if I don't win, this is what should happen. If we don't win, do this one. I've covered an election in this country where the results that left a local government to the city center where INEC collation center is, was the one that left the local government was hijacked. The bus was attacked. They were beating blue back. In short, as at the time the result got to the city center, it wouldn't have been possible for them to have driven from that local government to the city center. Probably should have taken them maybe 4 hours. But the result got to the city center in less than 30 minutes. That means the result had already been in the city center before they had the election. So these are the mindset that typical Nigerian politicians go into election with. So it's just like activating option B if option A fails. Even when option B doesn't look sellable, you activate option C. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be when you lose an election, you go to appeal or to challenge the result. So, that is what democracy is about. But we always make that like the last option. We first scatter everything first. We start resort to arson. We start burning secretariat. We start burning buses. We start doing this. At the end of the day, maybe a month later, we now say we want to appeal the result of the election. What are we doing?
Okay, thank you very much for your fine analysis. In the next few seconds, we are going for the news break. And when we return, before we open the lines, we'll look at these youths. They are the talks, or part of them are the talks. And they are supposed to be the owners of tomorrow, leaders of tomorrow. So are they not participating in destroying the tomorrow? We'll look at that one after the news break.
Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
Hey you, what are you listening to?
Sound of Lagos, 98.3 Mainland FM.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening. This is Headline News on 98.3 Mainland FM. I am Lillian Aberika. Commuters stranded on Ibadan-Ife Expressway as students protest over ASU strike. Court orders INEC to accept Akpabio as APC senatorial candidate for Akwa Ibom North West. President Buhari meets security chiefs at Presidential Villa. Security Council declares NatForce illegal, orders immediate disbandment. FRSC to start impounding heavy smoke-emitting vehicles. On the foreign scene, 13 passengers killed in Myanmar bus crash. Tears as British public pays respect to Queen's coffin. In sports, Roger Federer retires from tennis. That is the headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
Great vibe for your pleasure. Excitement every second. We are your groove. Your first choice for information, entertainment, and news.
Bear in mind, the need to emphasize self-discipline and
we'll make you dance from soul, Afrobeat, reggae, and blues. We are Mainland FM. The sound of Lagos.
Let's start the party.
Which way to go? Oh yeah.
Back on the other side of the news beats, we are coasting home. But before we open the full lines, Ogamu, you are out by the youths. And the youths are supposed, as we always say, those of us who are young at heart, we are the owners of tomorrow, and we are destroying our today. How does that work?
You know, I think we will be unfair to the Nigerian youths if we take it. I think that all of them are involved in this. Quite a large number.
No. Sorry, not all of them. The core of the active.
Yes. Not no. We can say those. I think let's say the bottom of the ladder, right? Those that are not educated, the miscreants. You see, you will see a refined before. Yes, because of emotion and the thinking that by defending this man, he will do this, will give you good governance. You can say a lot of people were involved in defending or involved in thuggery. But now, you understand, things are changing. These youths have seen that what they have been getting is promise upon promise, and does not be any good governance. But we have some youths, the conductors, sorry to say, but the dregs of the society that can be easily cajoled with 2,000, with 5,000, at least to commit this kind of a heinous act. But some youths that are responsible, some youths that are educated, that have something meaningful doing, even you see in Nigeria that's a carpenter, you understand, or a fashion designer, right? I think just being called by any candidate and giving them what call it machetes and cudgels to start go and in using people. So they have nothing to do. Go to recruit, just give them out. Do you understand? So miscreants. So I think they are easy tools to be involved in this thuggery again.
Thank you very much. So here,
sorry. You've aligned.
You have to pay me.
Yes. Yes. How are you? You're welcome, sir.
Good evening. This will be calling from the cage. I'm a lucky man, sir.
Thank God for you.
Ogo, you can bear me witness. I've been saying it to say that somebody went to court, trying to stop the usage of givers and other things. Somebody trying to throw span on the waist now. You see how they start trouble? They cause trouble. At the end of the day, they say yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for your contribution, Mr. Obi.
Timothy calling you from Ojo.
Oh, Timothy, you are welcome.
Leadership recruitment is start with when we are able to select good leadership.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yes, we are with you.
If we are able to get it right now, we will have those people that our former president when he lost election. This land, God bless you. Do we still have those people right now work well for us?
Thank you. Much. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome.
I don't know how I started the 1990 party. Need to be people that behind you or for me. In Nigeria, we have 200 million. I think we have to have one to founded their fundamental right.
Hello. Who are we speaking?
I think that's really
very brief and straight to the point. Hello.
From Kogi State, I live in Lagos.
Please, can you help us?
Okay. And so, talking about this election, things that people are saying, PDP, you turn up. You understand? I don't know if you get my point. When PDP is turn up, it's not high. Even selling of a things of price of things again. The party, if we want to talk about party, about this election things, they're talking about old age. But talking about old.
Can it be stopped? That is the problem. That's the issue we are discussing.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm here from Ireland. We have to look at the poverty rate in the country. Because, when somebody is poor, he's just talking about the food that you eat immediately. He's not talking about how you... means say something in the sense that they have issue of, let me say, attack the electoral material returning to the state collection agent. And it was attacked, but in the next 30 minutes, it have already reaching that place. The INEC are supposed to have the information that so thing was attacked. How many did we receive it here again? Those kind of things, you have to find the issue of INEC, because if the INEC is working, because when a polling unit is attacked and such material, it is supposed to cancel the election so that you will not have the privilege of coming again.
Okay, let me just say something. As at today, that issue of electoral boss snatching on the way is no more going to hold. That has been corrected.
Okay, that should we are praying for that. Then another issue you are having again is accountability of the leaders and the expenses in the election aspect. How much are they buying their form? Somebody will not invest such.
I'm talking about it's not paid by one person. So everybody pays that same amount, and they're already aware that it's only one person that will win the presidency. So whatever you pay, it's not.
I understand, sir. I understand that this one A paid 1 million, B paid 5 million. But the issue is that now A don't want to lose his 5 million. Why the B don't want to lose?
That is his own business. You know that it's only
so they need to fight to win to achieve their money.
No, your fighting can never get your money because you know from the one that you are playing.
Yes, like when you are playing gamble, you are expecting to win or you lose. So you make sure that you play the game that you win. So they have to put the strategy that will make them to win. So those tools of violence are the strategy they are trying to plan so that they will not lose the game.
Okay, thank you very much. Miracle. Hello. 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 Hello.
Good evening, Opa. Good evening in the studio, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Joshua. I'm calling you from Bado area.
Welcome, Joshua.
Well, all I want to say, my own, is that we should look into our youth very well, because all these old men that they are using, they are sending our youth all this out on the road. I don't know if Nigeria Orientation Agency, if they are still working, they should go and be talking to them that violence is not good. Because they are the one that they are using, all these boys on the road. After they use them finish, they will dump them. I don't know people that can go and be talking to all those boys. So that is just the issue now.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Hello.
You are doing the work of the National Orientation Agency. My name is Patrick. I'm calling from Ikeja.
Thank you, Patrick.
The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics just released the consumer index. Average Nigerian is vulnerable to manipulation as we are talking now. Anyone that pays him can tell him what to do. The man was trying, the non-fine one. The question is this: they are all young people. Like it or not, our electoral act recognizes that they can vote.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we're listening.
Hello,
Our
electoral act recognizes them as potential voters. They have the power to vote. And if these people who do not even understand the basics about democracy as meaning they having the power to choose the person that manages the resources of this entire nation, they only live for the day. Papa is always driving home one point. You cannot separate Nigeria from the Nigerian. The Nigerian is living in Nigeria, is living in poverty. Anyone that gives him 5,000 naira can tell him, go and slap that man, and he will do it. We are in serious problem. I don't know how we're going to come out of it, but violence in our elections, I can only hope. Let me allow other callers to contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Okay. Hello. Okay. Okay, the next caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening, okay.
Good evening.
And the guest on the... I think the issue of violence in Nigerian politics can really be solved in 3 ways. And you are doing one now. That is education.
Please, who are we speaking with? Can we meet you, sir? Can we meet you, sir?
At least most of us that are talking now, they are the people that are literate. The people that are not literate, how are they going to get what we are saying towards the next election? Therefore, this thing has to go to the grassroots. Education, that's number one. Then justice. So our program should center on the institutions. If we're able to manipulate it, just like we have manipulated the electoral system to tilt against them a little bit now, I think the violence will get reduced.
Thank you. Please, we didn't meet you. Didn't tell us your name.
Ayo is my name from Ota.
Thank you. Hello.
This is Obina calling from First House.
Obina, you are welcome.
My fear is that this violence people are talking about after the result of the election, because I don't think what I'm thinking is that the majority vote, if it didn't go the way the majority vote expected, the thinking of the people, the feeling of the people, they will say the election was rigged. So I'm just.
Hello.
Good evening. My name is Ade Adeoye from Mogwa.
You're welcome, Ade Adeoye.
Yes, I'm very happy that Ope and Adeyemi cited Osun election when we are discussing. You will notice that in the previous election, when Oyetola won, the main election there was no violence in the main election until after that rerun of some polling agent. This last one again, the violence was now after the results. The governor's wife was passing, but a winner take all. It is not. What I'm driving at is want you to win. In fact, they meant oil pipe will come to radio on the road. Please know not to be angry and accept the result as they come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
well
very
done.
much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you have somebody was saying inflation 20-something%. Statistics say next week the first negative mentality. And the issue of violence is in our DNA. Historically, even though we are not born then, we heard of the Wild Wild West. Then there and then don't be actually here. You know what happened? Violence in Ibadan everywhere. Then in the time of there, another presidential candidate, the president of Bakun and whatever, we dance in down plot. Okay, Babu will dance in down plot. If the election is not favorable to him. Okay. More than 50 years ago. So it has continued. Okay. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Chris Opagun. Okay, that's all we can take for the call as we are rounding off now. Mr. Muiwa. Now, when we're talking about we have needed to maybe the last. If everybody understands this issue of I spend money, I don't spend money, that if no matter what you spend, that does not guarantee you victory. If everybody understand that, don't you think there will not be violence?
I think it's not only about money, right? One, culture, experience, system were involved. Some people had this money, all right? Only is on they are just on ego trip. My ego has been bruised, right? And human beings, especially men, will do anything that allows it. And let me say, people commit crime. There's human beings have propensity of committing crime, but people run away from committing crime because of the consequence.
The sanction, the penalties.
The penalties. So if a system,
not just written, but
executed, right? If the system makes, I think the offenders, right? But if we are operating a system here in Nigeria, William died in this Lagos state. People said it was killed due to politics, whether in Lagos or Maiduguri or Nature or wherever. During that last election in Anambra, during the campaign, an aspirant was shot. During the campaign, open fire, open go in Anambra. This Ifeanyi in Bada was killed, that was shot. Do you understand? Election is coming. Do you understand? Who knows? As the issue that once all the political motivated violence had not been nipped in the bud, is an encouragement for whoever.
For others to follow.
So if I believe that at least your survivor is stopping my hands.
The last one. One other thing that could easily. You do see my car at Onikon Stadium. Have you come to Ogbe Stadium? Do you see the
force, or let me say publisher of popularity, intimidation. I talked about pre-election methods, all of those things that the politicians want to use. It doesn't really appeal to me. We've seen a lot of people that those crowds are, most of them are rented. I think I want to quickly say this before we leave. The money, they'll troop out. Now, what I want to say is this. I think we probably need to still do this kind of show again as we move into the election. The role of non-state actors in election in this country seems to be underestimated. Now, we focus on INEC, we focus on police, we focus on politicians. There are some non-state actors in this country that literally dictate what happens on election day. Beyond what we can say here, beyond what most of us can say, some people have come out to say that there won't be election in some areas in this country, and if INEC is not careful, there won't be election in those areas, and heaven will not fall. So I think that is one space we need to start focusing on. And I think constant review of our electoral laws will make us continue to get better in this country.
But those people that said there won't be election, at Anambra, do you understand?
There was an each free election.
What happened?
Each free election.
What happened?
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for today. I think
none.
I think we've had a good show today, and I think you made a good point that we should look at these issues one after the other as the election draws near. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. Our audience, our esteemed audience, thank you for being with us. That's where we draw the curtain today. But tomorrow morning is Friday. We have trending in newspapers and mainland focus. Of course, your darling will be here. That is Sandra will be here to handle those issues. Please stay with us tomorrow. In fact, all our programs tomorrow are great. Tomorrow, we welcome you. My name remains Matthew Kudua, and thank you, Muyiwa, for being here.
Yeah,
and that's you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, know what this is. 98.3 Mainland FM.